VGK and Edmonton will collide in the second round of the Cup playoffs starting this week, and there won't be a lack of star power on the ice. Is this the series that was destined to happen?
You're Locked On Golden Knights, your daily podcast on the Vegas Golden Knights, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hi again, everyone. I'm Tony Cardasco along with Chris Golick. We come to you from Las Vegas. You could find us on Twitter at LockedOnVGK, at Tony Dasco, at TD Chris G, and on YouTube, Locked On Golden Knights. Please subscribe there. And thank you so much for making us your first listen each and every day. So, Chris, VGK meeting Edmonton, second round of the NHL playoffs. And these were two of the best teams not only in the Pacific, but also perhaps in the league post-All-Star break. Golden Knights holding off the Oilers late. And in game number 82, it came down to the final game of the season. The Golden Knights prevailed by 2 points. And when I looked at the opening numbers of this series, the Golden Knights underdogs, despite having the home ice advantage and despite finishing higher in the standings. So why do you think that the Oilers are a minus 150 or 160 favorite coming into this series?
Got a couple things happening. So before I get too deep in this part, I'm going to go off script really fast here. So we had a WTF a little while back. I called out Secret Creamery, if you remember. They give away some coupons at the VGK games. A good buddy of mine, William, went to one of their locations and they wouldn't honor it. For whatever reason, there's a problem with the employee. It happens. So as a result of the WTF, get this, Tony, Secret Creamery was watching. They reached out to William via social media and they made amends, whatever that may be. So nice. William made a point to tell me that tonight when I was selling some cards. So just want to give a shout out to Secret Creamery for, taking care of people and everything. And this is not Secret Creamery didn't reach out to me. I've interacted with them, but not about that. Like this is completely me, just, me making sure to give a little love to them for what they did. So maybe I'll bring the family down. We'll get some ice cream one of these days. Definitely.
Any other consumer complaints come here to Locked On?
Yeah, no, we can be the new Dirty Dining, right?
Okay, so what do you make of this series? VGK comes in as a plus 130 or more underdog.
Yeah, so let's talk. So I put a tweet out there, maybe that VGK winning the division was going to be huge in case there was a game 7. Having that at T-Mobile Arena would be awesome. So what if game 7 is at home? Look at the Boston Bruins, what just happened. We're recording Sunday night, folks. So the loss of the Bruins is still fresh right now in me and Tony's mind. And then also right now, real time, the Kraken are winning on the road against the Colorado Avalanche. 2-0. So, I mean, it is just crazy. The parity, not parody, because apparently that's the wrong word. One of our great listeners corrected me a while back with that. So parity, not parody. Parody, I guess, is like comic, but parody is
parody,
equal.
Parody. This is parody. Parody.
Yeah, Tony, parody. Stop being smart. Just go back to TMZ and talk about Avril Lavigne or something. But, the point being is the NHL, like this is, I'm trying to think of a better way to put this and I can't. So I'm just going to say it. The NHL is better than any drug out there as far as the high it can give you and the excitement it can give you and the pain it can cause you and everything. I mean, in Florida, they're as high as high could get. In Boston, they're as low could get right now. And it didn't even cost you a lot of money going to some, shady street corner to get it. So, the playoffs are amazing. They're fun. I mean, I know we're talking about a serious matter there, but all kidding aside, this is just so much fun watching it from afar. And I'm fortunate, me and Tony are fortunate that we're, providing coverage for a team that's still along for the ride.
Yeah, no doubt. And when you can take care of business, you need to do it and not screw around. And like Boston blew that 3-1 lead. The Oilers had a 3-1 lead in game 6 in Los Angeles. And then the game was tied 4-4. Stuart Skinner had that faux pas there. He fanned on a clearing pass, and that's how that game became tied up. But then the late knockout blow by Kyler Yamamoto with 3:02 remaining, and the Oilers advance there. And this will not be a series that lacks star power for the VGK. You've got Jackie Aces. You've got Stone, Chandler Stevenson. You've got, of course, McDavid and Draisaitl and Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, all 100-point scorers. There are a lot of storylines heading into this amazing series. It should be a good one. It could go 6 or 7.
It should go 7, and it's probably going to go 7. And if that's the case, it's not looking good for Vegas, because going game 7 at home ice, I don't know if that's a good thing or not. We'll see what happens in Colorado then tomorrow with the Rangers, Tony. We'll see how that whole thing shakes out. That's pretty exciting in its own way. I actually got the Rangers advancing in 7 in my NHL.com bracket, so we'll see if that works out. Chris is definitely on that train. He wants to see the Rangers win tomorrow night too, right, buddy?
They better.
There you go.
So this is the series I think that VGK did not want to play. I know the fans didn't. They wanted to play the Kings. I think that the Kings would be more tailor-made for the VGK. This is going to be a difficult series.
2 things to look at. So we played Edmonton 3 times. Once
3-0
lost in
and
overtime, McDavid gets the game winner.
3-0-1.
Right. 3-0. Well,
4 times.
Yeah. Okay. 4 times. We played him 4 times. Okay. Yeah. 4 times. Point being is, though, if I'm mistaken, VGK was at its healthiest the first time they played them early in the season when they lost in overtime. And the other games, we didn't necessarily have Stone, as well as, more of a complimentary, you getting tired over there?
Yeah.
And more of a complimentary list of players, including Mark Stone for a lot of those games. The only goalie, and correct me if I'm wrong, to beat the Edmonton Oilers was Brossoit. We're not going to call Laurent. We have to pronounce the T, Tony. We got yelled at again by one of our followers the other day. We have to get the T in there. Laurent.
That's why I just call him Larry.
I know that's a lot easier. We'll probably get yelled at for that too by somebody. So now we got best on best. Now we have our defense. Hopefully we'll talk, a little bit more about that in our next segment, I think, but we have at least 5/6 of our defense coming back. Brossoit, don't call him Laurent, has been doing absolutely amazing and getting the job done. So now we got a best on best scenario. I don't know if I'm going to put a ton of stock into the regular season record. We'll just kind of see how it all shakes out, but I don't. Looking at the odds, you said we're plus 130 and they're minus 110. Is that, or
minus
150, 120? So it's 150, 120 ish. I think
or
the Sharps are going to take that number VGK's way a little bit, honestly. Just VGK. Yes, the game 7 situations are weird across the NHL, but Edmonton, they still got to prove it. Vegas has been far. I mean, in 3 of Vegas's first 5 seasons, we've been conference finals or better, where Edmonton has been conference finals 1 or better, or just 1, I should say, not even or better, in one of those same 5 seasons. I believe that was last season, if I'm not mistaken. So, Edmonton's got a lot of work to do. And listen, I say this all the time, guys, give me the best coach, give me the best goaltender in any series, and then we'll go from there and try and starting to figure things out. Let's look at the Florida Panthers, okay? Paul Maurice, he doesn't got great playoff accolades, but he's been there before. And Bobrovsky, Swayman was not the best goalie in that series. And Bobrovsky's got a heck of a lot more experience in these situations than Swayman did, as well as Maurice has been in many more big games leading a bench than Montgomery. Look what happened.
And Bobrovsky also was the goaltender for Columbus, right? If I'm not mistaken, that knocked out Tampa.
Yeah, there you go. So, we've got the notch in those 2 categories, and we can go a little bit deeper later on, but, give me the best coach, give me the best goalie, and then let's talk about which team is going to possibly win the series. And both those check marks go to Vegas.
4 games, and for VGK, 4 different goalies. They played 4 goalies against Edmonton. Hill,
so crazy just in itself. Like, that's just nuts.
LT, Brossoit, and then Quick gave up those 6 goals in that last game. So that's going to be interesting. And Brossoit currently 11-1-3.
Laurent.
And Stuart Skinner. These are 2 pretty much unproven.
Skinner.
Yeah, they're 2 unproven goaltenders.
Truly. And, I said this how many times, folks? I flipped, right? I mean, I took the Kings in my official NHL bracket. I thought they would get by them, and they had a shot, right? I mean, that was a couple of games could have gone either way. Oilers had some great comebacks. Give them all the credit in the world. Don't take anything away from Edmonton, and credit LA for hanging out, as well as they could have there. But Edmonton is not the invincible team it was down the stretch in the last 3 weeks. I will certainly say they've come back to reality a little bit. Where on the other side of the ice, VGK seems to be, starting to find their groove. They're healthy. They're cresting right now. And it's going to be a tough out. It's going to be a lot of fun. And I did put another tweet out, enjoy the game. Enjoy the fact that Connor McDavid's coming to Vegas for, 4 to 7 games straight. That's absolutely remarkable. And, I know ESPN is going to be drooling all over McDavid, and so am I right now, but he deserves it, guys. He absolutely deserves it. And I hope McDavid gets a hat trick every game and Vegas wins 4-3.
But the true hero for Edmonton of the postseason, at least, has been Leon Draisaitl, and we'll talk more about him in a moment. But
he's a passenger. He's a passenger.
This could be a series that is determined by the bottom six. The more that you look at it, could be a series that is determined by the bottom six, because VGK really has to play better with the top six.
Who's going to be in our bottom six?
Right, exactly. That's the big question that we'll address in a little while. Little teaser. Okay, coming up next, we'll take a look at some of the keys coming into this series. And then later on in the show, we will talk about who we expect to see, who's in and who is out of the VGK lineup. Don't go away. Stay with us. More after this on Locked On Golden Knights. For a championship team, it is all about making sure that every player is a perfect fit. And it's the same when it comes to your vehicle. Every part really just needs to fit just right. So the next time you need parts and accessories, just head to eBay Motors. With eBay Guaranteed Fit, you can make sure that every part that you need is just right the first time around. Just add to your ride and add it to My Garage on the website, and then you look for the green check mark to know that the part fits very well, or you get your money returned. And because just like in sports, confidence is the name of the game when you shop at eBay Motors. And with over 122 million parts to choose from, you'll be back in the game in no time at all. After all, it's easy to bring home a win when the right parts are guaranteed. Get the right parts, the right fit, and the right prices on ebaymotors.com. ebaymotors.com. Let's ride. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. Welcome back to Locked On Golden Knights. Tony Cardasco and Chris Golick. We come to you from Las Vegas each and every day, Monday through Friday. Thanks for making us your first listen, and thanks for making the month of April an all-time high with downloads. There were thank you so much, over 13,000 plus downloads. And for the year, we are close to 45,000 downloads on Locked On VGK, which is amazing that you make us your first listen and wake up to. Mostly myself, each and every day. It just amazes me. Chris, on the other hand, has a lot to offer on this show. So let's get into, Chris, the keys to this series. Number one has to be the power play. My goodness, is Edmonton good? The power play and special teams definitely at the top of the list. Edmonton, 5 of 9 versus VGK. The Golden Knights were 1 for 10 in the 4-game series. And in the last series for the Edmonton Oilers, 9 for 16 against the LA Kings. Just amazing, amazing numbers. And the Golden Knights are going to have to, you could talk about the PK all you wanna, but the key here is to stay out of the penalty box at all costs.
No, it's not. It's not staying out of the penalty box. And what I mean when I say that is you don't want to alter the game to where they're playing on their heels. They're making sure they don't take that extra hit to send them on the PK or send them on the power play. It's not to make sure, you don't do your same, whatever you normally do and accidentally high stick someone or make an aggressive play. You might get a hook or a trip out there. You don't want to take penalties, on the other side of the ice. Obviously if we can limit those, fine, so be it. But as far as on the defensive side of the ice, you can't play not to take a penalty. VGK has to improve the special teams play as a whole, power play and penalty kill, and maybe reverse those two, penalty kill and power play, because Edmonton is just an absolute monster. And I'm not saying keep them off the sheet completely, but if you can win the special teams battle, that would be remarkable. But if it just not cost you the game, You cannot spot them 2 goals on the special teams advantage. Even spotting them 1 every game could spell disaster. So they need to solve their special teams issues, and they need to solve them quickly, more importantly than staying out of the box. Because teams are going to take penalties, and the refs aren't necessarily putting the whistle in their pocket as much as we've seen, at least in the early rounds in the past. Does that change a little bit in round 2? Maybe. And if it does, that would certainly benefit VGK on both sides of the ice, because they call less penalties, we get less power plays. And if they call less penalties, we get less penalty kills. We suck at both right now. So, hopefully maybe the refs will eat the whistle a little bit and just kind of forget about it. But that's probably not what's going to happen. So whatever, Cassidy and Burke and Craig and the other coach, I forgot the other coach's name. We don't get to see him anyway, so whatever, they don't exist. But whatever they do, they need to figure it out and quickly. And they've had a few extra days to get down on the film, and we got some more practice time coming up, which is important. And the special teams have to improve, more importantly than staying out of the box.
Okay, so one sportsbook said that the series would start Tuesday. We're guessing it's going to start on Wednesday. And
I hope so.
Yeah, and the scoring punch, VGK in this series against Edmonton this season, Jonathan Marchessault, 3 goals, 2 assists, Chris, in the series, but neither Marchessault or Riley Smith lit the lamp in this last series against Winnipeg. Well, they're going to need them sooner or later. Absolutely, to get into the scoring column. Jack was 1 goal, 4 assists, 5 points. Edmonton, wow. I mean, they averaged more than 4 goals per game against the VGK. Nugent Hopkins leading the way, 9 points against the Golden Knights, 1 goal and 8 assists.
5 of those came in one game, but still great effort.
You still have to keep them off of they can't have these numbers, and VGK they won't win if these numbers are replicated. Draisaitl, he had 5 goals and 3 assists. My goodness. And McDavid was a pedestrian, 1 goal and 6 assists. The turning point for the Oilers.
7 points in 4 games, pedestrian. I love it. For him, that is pedestrian. That's crazy.
The Oilers, they had that streak. Remember, early on of the season, I think they were down in 5th or 6th place in the Pacific. They had a stretch where they were 2-11-2. And then right before the break, things kicked in. They went 5-0-1. And then they owned the best record post All-Star break in the NHL. I think that was right. Yeah, I think so. But in any event, they played some terrific hockey in the second half. And if not for that slow start and that drought there and that run, they might have won the division going away.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things you can look at. And Edmonton had a remarkable run, that started just before the All-Star break, whereas VGK started right after the All-Star break. And you can split hairs which team was better as far as, I think the records were very close. VGK might have even had a tiny bit better record. I could be wrong, but either way, they were within 2 or 4 points of each other from the All-Star break on. So both teams were, playing well. And like we started the show, this is the collision course. I mean, you had to assume the West was going to go through Vegas or Edmonton. And it's definitely going to go through Vegas or Edmonton now. And not to forget about what's happening on the other side, as Dallas, is waiting on the winner of Colorado and Seattle, which Seattle's up 2-1 going into the third right now. Colorado got a very late playoff goal that's going to give them some momentum. So after this show is done recording, we'll know the result of that game. So it's interesting, and it's going to be a ton of fun. And I still go back to the fact that we got 6 or 7 games coming up, and going back, I think you really need someone like Marchessault or Riley Smith to get something going. You need the misfits to keep it going. And William Karlsson's done his part. I mean, I know we giggle every time we say that, at least you do, but William Karlsson needs to keep on doing what he's doing, and also find a way to get Marchessault and Riley Smith going. And maybe Marchessault and Smith are helping Karlsson kind of do his thing. No matter what, that line needs to be a force to be reckoned with. And I think that we started this segment, Tony, with who's going to be in the bottom 6. And we'll talk more about that. But the point is, the bottom 6 definitely is where VGK does have an advantage over Edmonton. We have a good identity line, which is going to be our 4th line, which will carry, and we'll figure it out from there. And then line 3, whether Kessel draws back in or not, we don't know. But the point is, line 3 is scoring goals. At least 2/3 of that line. I should assume it's going to be Stevenson and Stone, but we'll see what Cassidy has up his sleeve going to the round against Edmonton. But the bottom six, very important. And if our checking line can slow down their best line, we're going to have a good shot. Come on, Colasar. Let's go, Colasar.
Second line, you'll have Nick Bukestad against William Karlsson. Bukestad was picked up there at the trade deadline. And so I think that's going to be an interesting matchup there to see. Edmonton really did not play a heavy series against the Kings. There wasn't so much hitting as there was in the VGK series against Winnipeg, which again was a bit of a surprise.
It was West Coast playoff hockey.
Yeah, but the VGK was a lot dirtier, a lot more physical, when you think about it. And so I'm just curious what you feel this series will be like. Maybe kind of splitting hairs there, and a little bit of the physical side. You have Evander Kane, who can definitely mix it up. Kane Colasar is that they will fight is minus 150 also. They're going to have a scrap. They'll have a scrap in there at some point.
I'd rather see Nick Hague, honestly. I know we don't want to take one of our defensemen out, but Nick Hague will just.
Hague is an elite fighter. Remember, he's an elite fighter.
Elite
in his first fight twice. Remember, State Run Radio said he was an elite fighter. Second fight in. Coming up next, Phil was not thrilled. He was not thrilled about taking a seat. Well, he wasn't thrilled about taking a seat on the bench against the Jets. We talk about who plays, who sits in this upcoming series when it gets underway this week. VGK and Edmonton. Back with more after this on Locked On Golden Knights. Maybe you're a lot like us and you want to eat healthy, you want to eat well, but that's a lot easier said than done. There's no longer that case with AG1. With one delicious scoop of AG1 and a glass of water each day, you are absorbing 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food sourced superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens to help you start the day off right. This special blend of ingredients supports your gut health, your nervous system, and much, much more. It can be hard and also very expensive to keep track of all the multiple vitamins that you need and all the supplements, not to mention how hard it can be on your stomach. AG1 costs you less than $3 a day, and you are investing in your health, and it's cheaper, a lot cheaper than your cold brew habit. Right now, it is time to reclaim your health and to arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition. To make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/NHL Network. Again, athleticgreens.com/NHL Network to take ownership over your health and to pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. Welcome back on Locked On Golden Knights. Tony Cardasco and Chris Golick from Las Vegas. Don't forget, on Fridays, we have our WTF segment. Chris went a little bit off the rails there in segment 1 from the jump with
it helps
on WTF. A little public service announcement, if you will. But you can join us on Friday and keep those comments coming, especially on Twitter at Locked On VGK. So, Chris, Bruce Cassidy said the decision was difficult to bench Phil Kessel in Game 5 of the first round against the Winnipeg Jets. Cassidy said Kessel was not happy and didn't agree. The thing that I didn't like that Cassidy said, though, was that, he did say that he always makes a decision that's good for the team. I agree with him there. What I didn't agree with was that he said that he met with players. Oh, no. He met with players. He asked them who they're connected to before he made the decision. If you're, I don't want to go there, but if you're certain players, okay, that Bill Foley talks to every day, these guys are going to want Kessel out. Come on. Oh, geez.
So we've said this before, Tony. Cassidy don't care. Cassidy, and not just Cassidy, a lot of coaches. I mean, we saw what bonus in his situation with the Jets and how he just blasted the team on the way out. Now, I don't know if you watched it, Tony, but I watched a good chunk of his presser, and he walked a lot of it back, and he came across likable when the dust settled. But the point being is these coaches, they know their 2, 3, 4 years best case scenario. There's only a few exceptions to that rule in the entire NHL. They know they're going to get fired. They know they are going to get booed, not all the time, but a lot of the times when they leave a city and come back with another team. So they are going to run this team the way they best see fit, selfishly for them to get the best results. And I say selfishly, half-heartedly, because they want to win. And Cassidy don't care if Phil Kessel is going to send him a Christmas card next year. He doesn't care if they happen to be at the bar, on the road, if they sit next to each other and have a drink. Like, Cassidy does not care. He's going to make the best decision for this team. And is anyone in VGK land going to argue that if you're only looking at Will Carey versus Phil Kessel, which player gives the team a better chance to win right now?
I just don't I just don't like the fact
it
that
doesn't need to be in the media. Doesn't need to be in the media.
He talked to players about being connected to whomever. Okay, we know that the misfit line, I want to play with Marchie and Smitty.
Terrible. I mean, terrible accent. But keep going.
Whatever that was. I mean, this isn't TMZ, so I don't have to do the
Who even talks like that? William Karlsson even talk like that.
I don't even know. But in any event, of course, the players are going to pull these tricks like they did with Foley. Oh, we're going to meet with Foley every day and
Nick
talk
Waugh,
about
maybe.
our coach.
Maybe it was Nick Waugh.
In any event, so now with Will Carrier back, in all seriousness, Carrier is back in the lineup. Will we ever see Kessel playing again?
Yeah, I mean, so you asked me, Tony, if we're going to see another goalie at some point, and the answer is most likely yes. Laurent Brossoit is doing very well right now, but he's going to get shelled. It's going to happen, and then Cassie's going to have a decision to make, whether it's bring Aiden Hill for the third period or even sooner, depending on what happens. With the Oilers coming to town, right, there's going to be a couple 6-5 games, 6-4 games, and if every game goes 6-5, this won't be a 7-game series. VGK will be out in 5 or 6 games. If a couple of the games go 6-5, then we can have a couple of 3-2 games. VGK has a reasonable shot to advance. And if there are more of those 6-5 games, you see another goalie come in. Same thing. If VGK can't score goals, you will see Phil Kessel back in this lineup come as early as game 3, I would say, if not even sooner. And this is pending injuries and all sorts of other drama. Although here's the next question, Tony. Let's say VGK is not scoring, or if a vacancy happens in the top 6 on one of the wings for whatever reason. Phil Kessel, Pavel Dorofeev. What's your gut say right now? Which one do you want?
Dorofeev.
Bingo.
Just, livelier legs, faster, quicker, youthful, all the above, can shoot, can finish, can score. Kessel slower, and Kessel might be injured. Who knows? But in any event, he pushed back. Could this become a distraction with the team?
I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of veteran presence in this team, and they've seen things. Mark Stone, Pietrangelo, and everyone else that's been around for a minute. They've seen all this stuff happen in front of their eyes and stuff like that. And Pietrangelo mainly seems to. I mean, I mentioned this so many times where it was one of the VGK games. I felt like whenever I was there, VGK got shellacked as media. So maybe I'm bad luck on the media side, but. I asked Pietrangelo about the mood of the locker room. I didn't say the word panic or anything. I didn't say snake bitten or anything like that. I simply said, what's the vibe right now? How are we feeling and stuff like that? And Pietrangelo shrugged it off like, why the F you even asking me this question? We're going to come back to work tomorrow. We're going to do our job. And at the time, I'm like, okay, fine. I'm just getting the canned response, but it was a truthful response. So point being is this team is poised. That's something we've said a lot of right now. This team is poised. They have good leadership in Cassidy. And listen, I'll take a hungry Phil Kessel that wants to get back in the lineup, and maybe he is chirping a little bit. Fine, so be it. We got Phil Kessel for the playoffs. How many times, if I had $1 for every time on this show, I would have said Phil Kessel throughout the season will get better and just watch for the playoffs. That's what Gary Lawless said. Right now, me and Gary Lawless, we're eating crow right now. He's not doing anything in the playoffs. He's had chances. He's had multiple high danger chances, but are you excited when he's out there? Not really. Do you feel Pavel Dorofeev, when he's out there, especially in the inside, can get a goal, can get dirty, can do what's needed? The answer is yes. Phil Kessel, maybe he can, but
how does he match up defensive? How would he match up defensively with the top 2 lines of Edmonton. Not well at all.
Not as well as 15 years ago, sure. Definitely not as well. But how will Pavel Dora feel with zero playoff experience? Like, that's a side
I'd
of
much
both
rather have the
games that
live
concern me.
legs and a player that we know can skate and is fast up and down the ice.
But now you also got a hungry Phil Kessel instead of an old Phil Kessel. Now he's hungry
Just
again.
tell him to get some hot dogs. So
Layup.
when you talk to Cassidy, and Cassidy said the other day, he said that the Booger man, Teddy Bluger, is not one of the top 12. So he's been left out, but I guess he has to abide by the decision. And he said, remember when he said, remember when I didn't play quick, against the Kings. So I have to make those difficult choices. Okay, players in and out of the lineup. Shea Theodore was back on the ice over the weekend. He was out ill,
weird,
very sick, I guess. Some kind of a
stomach hit. He was at he had a bad buffet. I think he was at Arizona Charlie's getting that $6.99 buffet or something like that.
Here come the calls. Here come the calls now. Now somebody is going to be calling us about that. Okay, so
I'm not going to Arizona Charlie's if they offer me a buffet. I'm sorry.
Okay,
I'll take Secret Creamery all day. I'm not going to Arizona Charlie's.
Okay, so Braden McNabb did not skate over the weekend. Should there be some concern?
Yes and no. I mean, yes, sure. Braden McNabb, a lot of experience, right? He's been a day oneer as far as he's been every dayer. Tony's been every dayer with us. So, he's been around since the beginning and done a lot of great things in the playoffs, a lot of experience, still the best hip check in the AHL going away. He's got a rib issue. He's probably got a broken rib, and that's not the easiest thing in the world to get through. I mean, I'm assuming it's a broken rib.
One.
I don't know. It is a rib issue that's been out there.
You can't laugh at all. You can't move. It's hard to sleep. Like, they can't do anything really for you.
Yeah, let alone be an NHL player playing in the playoffs at a high level. Ben Hutton looks the part, and so did Pahal the other night. So, I think Ben Hutton gets the nod. And listen, you want to talk about the faster, livelier legs. I don't know what the metrics are, but I'm pretty sure Ben Hutton can win a race over Braden McNabb. I'm not knocking McNabb. I'm just acknowledging that McNabb is your 90s, 80s, late 70s, big, tough defenseman who's going to put you in the first row eating nachos, to quote Alec Martinez, where Ben Hutton, he can hit, but he can also shoot. He can also skate. And no one's going stride for stride with McDavid, but at least Hutton will match a couple of the strides before McDavid is gone, versus McNabb wouldn't even be, in the same zone as him when McDavid turns the mix. McNabb, McNuggets, McDonald's. Okay, I'm hungry. Point being is McNabb would have a harder time keeping pace with that high power, quick offense, where Hutton at least has a fighting shots from the speed perspective.
Do you know who needs a bounce back defensively in this series? Is Mr. Pietrangelo. He really does.
And Martinez, both of them.
Well, yeah, but I mean, Petro took that really bad after he bought his house, that beautiful home there in Summerlin. He had that awful penalty that he took in that series.
Because he bought the house. He's mad about the financing, right?
The jump ball stick, whatever. And then was slow defensively. He needs to get back into a groove, and hopefully this little break will help him to get his legs back and be 100%. Because
look at the All-Star break, how much better things got. Look how much better things got for that time. This is about the same amount of time, right? It's going to wind up being what was Thursday the last game?
Yeah. So
Thursday to Wednesday, that's pretty close. I mean, if it's Tuesday, so be it. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think they're waiting. I can't imagine they're going to announce that. If it hasn't been announced now, I'm going to just see if anything's been announced and we've been live here.
While you're doing that, one of the keys.
It's got to be Wednesday. There's no way they're playing Tuesday right now. There's no way. It's got to be Wednesday.
Because it's later into Sunday. Yeah, it's got to be Wednesday because they should have announced it by now.
Avalanche tied it 2-2, by the way.
But one of the reasons why the Kraken is even there into a Game 7 is because they scored the first goal every game. I think that's an important factor. And for VGK, they really do need that early confidence in this series.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about Laurent. Sorry, whoever said that, I'm not mocking you. I'm more or less just trying to correct myself. So please don't at me all
Larry. Just call him Larry. You'll have no problems, no issues.
We'll have problems. We'll have 99 problems, but a Laurent ain't one.
Well, just call him bro or bro.
Just listen to the Linkin Park Jay-Z mashup they did, the concert. That was actually really cool. I haven't heard that in a long time. And I'm not a rap person, but
no, that's awesome. That's a good one.
That was really cool. Our topic was
nothing even mattered.
Early confidence and getting that early goal. But the good thing is sometimes Brossois. Sometimes once he gives up that early goal, he settles down too. So
He does. He has.
It's not the end of the world. And we've seen, I mean, watching the playoffs, you can't predict what's going to happen by who scores the first goal, the second goal, or crap, even the third goal. You don't know what the heck's going to happen in these playoffs right now. And, there's not going to be a shortage of goals in this series. I mean, God, we might get a 7 over under in this series, depending on what happens early on. Do we have a game one? Let's see if we have a game one.
I didn't see a game one line. I just saw the series.
I'll bet it's out there now that the series prices came out. I think I still feel kind of going back. I know our third segment, we kind of get a little goofy here. That feels a little long at what, plus 130 for BGK. That's I don't care about the risk. Yeah. Okay. So, and the game one is minus 110 on both sides. Like, how do you handicap Vegas as plus 130 if you're going to give minus 110 on both sides for the opener? 6.5 over under, which is expected. I'm really curious to see which way that line moves and what the public thinks about this game. It's probably going to be 60-40 Edmonton. Let's see, which makes you feel better about Vegas if that's the case.
Yeah, it should be interesting. What does, if anything, Chris, before we get out of here, what, if anything, does VGK change going into this series? What do they have to? They're going to have to play better defensively and try to keep that entrance into the zone. Play very tough in the neutral zone. For VGK, I think that's important.
I mean, so this is where I'm curious. We have an entire fifth line of players right now who are waiting for the opportunity to draw in. And does Bruce Cassidy, does Bruce Cassidy go the route of activating Bluger to get that extra center, defensive talent out there? I don't see Paul Cotter. I mean, it's going to take a special circumstance for him to draw back in, but really looking at Teddy Bluger, can he draw back into the lineup? And does Cassidy overthink things because he has all these extra players? I don't know. Honestly, I think you go out there and the emphasis is special teams, no more, no less. You know what McDavid's going to do. You know what Draisaitl's going to do. You also know what Skinner's going to do, and you also know what the defense is going to do. So poise, that's first thing. Emphasis on hopefully tying or better the special teams battle. If we can do that, then this is a short series on the Vegas side. If Vegas loses a special teams side every single game, it's a short series on the Edmonton side. So we'll see. It's going to be fun. Connor McDavid's coming to town.
Coming up on tomorrow's show, of course, we'll have more of a preview of this series between VGK and Edmonton, or EDM. We'd like to thank our everydayers, those of you that tune in each and every day. Thanks for making us your first listen. And if you are an everydayer, tell your friends about this extravaganza.
And they can tell their friends.
Yeah. For my man, Chris Golick, I'm Tony Cardasco from Las Vegas. We'll see you again tomorrow right here on Locked On Golden Knights.